Chapter 1. The Recognition. The diner smelled like burnt coffee and broken dreams at 2 a.m. I'd been on my feet for 9 hours straight, my lower back screaming in protest as I wiped down table 7 for the 3rd time that shift. The vinyl booth was still sticky from where some trucker had spilled syrup earlier, and no amount of scrubbing seemed to make it clean. But I needed this job. Needed the cash that came every Friday in a wrinkled envelope from Lou, the owner who never quite met my eyes when he handed it over. This wasn't where I thought I'd end up at 26. Then again, life had a way of laughing at our plans. The bell above the door chimed, and I didn't look up. Late-night customers were all the same. Tired, hungry, wanting their eggs and hash browns without conversation. I grabbed a laminated menu and turned toward the entrance, my rehearsed smile already in place. Then I saw him. The menu slipped from my fingers and clattered against the linoleum floor. He stood in the doorway like he owned it, like he owned everything his eyes touched. Tall, broader than I remembered, wearing a suit that probably cost more than 6 months of my rent. His dark hair was perfectly styled, his jaw sharp enough to cut glass, and those eyes... God, those eyes were the same storm gray I'd memorized 15 years ago. Dante Moretti. My breath caught in my throat. It couldn't be him. It couldn't. But it was. Behind him, 3 men in dark suits filed in, their eyes scanning the diner with military precision. They didn't sit. They positioned themselves, 1 by the door, 2 flanking the booths, their hands resting near their jackets in a way that made my stomach drop. Dante's gaze swept across the diner, dismissive and cold, until it landed on me. Everything stopped. I watched recognition flicker across his face, watched those gray eyes widen just a fraction before his expression went completely blank. But in that split second, I'd seen it. Shock, disbelief, and something else I couldn't name. Aria? His voice was deeper than I remembered. Rougher, like gravel and silk mixed together. I couldn't speak, couldn't move. My heart hammered so hard against my ribs I thought it might crack them open. He crossed the distance between us in 4 strides, and suddenly he was right there. Close enough that I could smell his cologne. Expensive, dark, nothing like the boy who used to steal cigarettes behind the school gym. Is it really you? His hand reached out, hesitated, then his fingers brushed my cheek so gently I almost broke. Dante. His name came out as barely a whisper. Something fierce and possessive flashed in his eyes. What are you doing here? Working in this... He looked around the diner with barely concealed disgust. I work here. I found my voice, forced steel into it. I have bills to pay. You disappeared. The softness vanished from his tone, replaced by something harder, sharper. 12 years ago, no goodbye, no explanation. Your house was empty, your phone disconnected. I looked for you, Aria. I looked everywhere. The accusation in his voice cut deep. I had to leave. My father, your father owed people money. Dante's jaw clenched. I know everything now. The way he said it made ice spread through my veins. There was knowledge in those words, and power, and something dark that hadn't been there when we were 14 and stupid, and in love in the way only teenagers can be. What happened to you? I whispered, even though I could see it written all over him. The expensive suit, the armed guards, the cold authority in his stance. He'd become exactly what his family had always been. He'd become his father. I grew up. His fingers caught my chin, tilting my face up to his. The question is, what happened to you? Where have you been, Aria? Why are you here in this place, working yourself to death? That's none of your business. Everything about you is my business. The words came out low, almost a growl, and I felt them in places I had no right to feel anything. Lou emerged from the kitchen, his face going pale when he saw Dante. Mr. Moretti, sir, I didn't know you were coming. Is there a problem? Is it about the payment? Because I swear it's coming, I just need another... Dante didn't even look at him. Leave us. But everyone out, now. The command in his voice was absolute. Lou practically ran for the back exit. The other waitress, Sarah, grabbed her purse and bolted. Within 30 seconds, the diner was empty except for Dante, his men, and me. You can't just, I can do anything I want. He stepped closer, backing me against table 7. Do you have any idea who I am now? I can guess. My voice shook, but I held his gaze. You're just like your father, just like all of them. Pain flickered across his face before the mask slammed back down. Yes, I am, which means you should be terrified right now, Arya. But you're not, are you? You're angry. You're damn right I'm angry. You can't just walk in here and... When do you finish your shift? The question threw me. What? Your shift. When does it end? I have 4 a.m., but that's none of... You're done now. He pulled out his phone, pressed one button. Marco, bring the car around. Then his eyes fixed on me again, and the intensity in them stole my breath. Get your things. You're coming with me. The hell I am. This isn't a request, and you're not my boss. I tried to step around him, but he moved with me, his body blocking mine. Let me pass, Dante. Not until you tell me where you've been. Not until you tell me why you left without a word. Not until... His voice cracked just slightly, and the boy I'd loved flickered through the man he'd become. Do you have any idea what it did to me? Waking up and finding you gone? Guilt crashed through me, but I shoved it down. I was 16. I had no choice. You always had a choice. You could have trusted me. Your family terrified me. Your father is dead. The words were flat, emotionless. 5 years now. I run things differently. I laughed, bitter and sharp. Do you? Because this looks pretty familiar to me. Ordering people around, making them afraid, acting like you own the world. I do own this world. He leaned in, his breath hot against my ear, and I've spent 12 years building my empire, Arya. 12 years becoming powerful enough that no one can touch what's mine. Do you understand what I'm saying? My heart stuttered. I'm not yours, aren't you? His lips brushed my temple, so soft it might have been an accident. You've always been mine. From the moment you kissed me behind the bleachers when we were 14. From the moment you told me you'd love me forever. We were children. I'm not a child anymore. He pulled back, his eyes boring into mine. And neither are you. So I'll ask again, where have you been? Running, hiding, surviving. The truth spilled out before I could stop it. My father's debts followed us everywhere. My mother got sick. I worked 3 jobs to pay for her treatments, and when she died, I kept working because I didn't know what else to do. I moved here 6 months ago because I thought maybe, finally, we'd run far enough that no one would find us. Us? My blood went cold. Me. I meant me. But Dante was already moving, his hand wrapping around my wrist as he pulled me toward the door. Don't lie to me, Arya. Not about this. Who else is with you? No one. Let me go. Is it a man? Are you married? Living with someone? His voice had gone deadly quiet. Answer me. What does it matter to you? He spun me around, slamming his hands on either side of my head against the wall, caging me in. It matters because I've waited 12 years for this. 12 years of wondering if you were alive, if you were happy, if you thought about me the way I thought about you every single goddamn day. And now you're here, right in front of me, and I'm not letting you disappear again. You don't own me, Dante. Not yet. His eyes dropped to my lips, but I will. Before this night is over, you're going to remember exactly who you belong to. The air between us crackled with electricity. Every nerve ending in my body was on fire, and I hated it. Hated that after all these years, after everything I'd seen and survived, he could still make me feel like this, like I was falling and flying at the same time. The door opened, and one of his men cleared his throat. Boss, car's ready. Dante's eyes never left mine. Are you coming willingly, or do I need to carry you? You're insane. Probably. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. But you're still coming with me, because whether you want to admit it or not, you're in danger here. This diner, this job, this life, it's all wrong for you. You deserve better. And you're going to give it to me? I laughed, but it came out shaky. The Mafia boss is going to save me? The man who never stopped loving you is going to protect you. His thumb traced my lower lip, and I shivered. Even if you hate me for it. Before I could respond, he scooped me up, throwing me over his shoulder like I weighed nothing. Put me down. I beat against his back, but he was already striding toward the door, his men falling into formation around us. No. His hand gripped my thigh, possessive and firm. Not until you're safe. Not until you tell me everything. Not until... Gunshots shattered the windows. Glass exploded inward as Dante dropped to the ground, covering my body with his. More shots rang out, bullets tearing through the booth where we'd been standing seconds before. "Stay down," he roared, pulling a gun from inside his jacket with practiced ease. His men returned fire, the sound deafening in the small space. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't do anything but press myself against the cold linoleum as chaos erupted around us. This was his world. Violence and danger and death, and somehow, impossibly, I was right in the middle of it. Dante's body was a shield above mine, his heart pounding against my back as he fired 3 precise shots through the shattered window. Someone screamed outside. An engine revved. Then silence. He didn't move for a long moment, his weight pressing me into the floor, his breath harsh in my ear. "Are you hurt?" "No." The word came out as a gasp. "Good." He stood, pulling me up with him, his eyes scanning me for injuries even as his men secured the perimeter. "Because we're leaving, now." What just happened? His jaw clenched. Someone knew I'd be here. Someone knew I'd be distracted. His eyes locked on mine, and the fury in them made me take a step back. "How many people knew you worked here, Arya? Who did you tell? No one." "I didn't." "Then they've been watching you." He pulled me toward the back exit, his grip on my hand unbreakable. "Which means they know. They know you matter to me. Which means you're not safe anywhere except with me. Dante, I can't... You don't have a choice anymore." We burst through the back door into the alley where a black SUV waited, engine running. He pushed me into the back seat and climbed in after me, slamming the door as the vehicle peeled away from the curb. "Neither of us do. Because the moment I walked into that diner, the moment I saw you again, everything changed. I stared at him, my heart racing, my world tilting on its axis. Welcome back to my life, Arya Russo." He reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear with surprising gentleness. "This time I'm never letting you go." Chapter 2. Fall into Danger. The SUV tore through empty streets, taking turns so sharp I had to brace myself against the leather seat. Dante sat beside me, his jaw clenched, his fingers flying across his phone screen as he barked orders in Italian. His men responded in clipped voices from the front seats, and I caught words I hadn't heard in years. Tradimento. Sangue. Guerra. Betrayal. Blood. War. I pressed myself against the door, trying to make sense of what had just happened. 10 minutes ago, I'd been wiping down tables. Now I was in a speeding car with the boy I'd once loved, who'd somehow transformed into something dark and dangerous and utterly terrifying. "Where are you taking me?" My voice sounded small, and I hated it. Dante's eyes flicked to me, softening slightly. He ended his call and slid the phone into his pocket. "Somewhere safe. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're getting right now." He leaned forward, speaking to the driver in rapid Italian. The man nodded, and we turned onto a highway, heading out of the city. I need to go back. Panic clawed at my chest. My apartment, my things, already being handled. Marco's sending a team to collect your belongings. You can't just... I can, and I am. He turned to face me fully, and the intensity in his gaze pinned me to the seat. "Someone just tried to kill you, Arya. Do you understand that?" "Those bullets weren't meant for me, they were meant for you. To send a message, to hurt me where it matters most. How could anyone possibly know I matter to you? I haven't seen you in 12 years. Because I've had people looking for you all this time." His admission hung in the air between us. Every city, every lead, every possible connection. I never stopped searching, and 3 months ago, one of my men picked up a trail. A woman matching your description, working at a diner in the bad part of town, using a fake name on her tax forms. Ice flooded my veins. "You've been watching me for 3 months?" "Confirming it was you. Making sure you were safe." His hand moved like he wanted to touch me, then stopped. "I was coming to see you tonight. To talk. To understand why you left. But someone beat me to it. Who? His expression went dark. The Calvetti family. They've been trying to move in on my territory for 6 months. This is their way of declaring war, hitting me where I'm vulnerable. I'm not your vulnerability. Yes, you are. He said it so simply, so matter-of-factly, like it was an undeniable truth. You always have been. Everyone in our world knows what you meant to me back then. Finding you again after all this time, they're not stupid, Arya. They know what that means. It doesn't mean anything. We were kids. That was a lifetime ago. Was it? He shifted closer, and suddenly there was no space between us, just heat and tension and the ghost of what we'd been. Because the moment I saw you tonight, it felt like yesterday, like I just found the only thing I've ever wanted and lost. My breath hitched. Don't what? Tell you the truth? His knuckles brushed my cheek and I shivered. I've spent 12 years becoming the kind of man who could protect you. Who could give you everything? Who could make sure nothing and no one could ever take you from me again? And now that I've found you, I don't need protecting. I've been taking care of myself just fine. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. Working yourself to death in a diner, living in a one-room apartment in a neighborhood where gunshots are background noise, that's not fine, Arya. That's survival. And you deserve so much more than just surviving. What I deserve is my freedom, my choices. Even if those choices get you killed. His voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. Because that's what's going to happen if you go back to your old life now. The Calvettos know about you. They'll use you to get to me. And they won't hesitate to hurt you in ways that will make you beg for death. The certainty in his voice sent fear skittering down my spine. You're trying to scare me. I'm telling you the reality of my world. Our world now. Like it or not, you're part of this the moment I walked into that diner. He cupped my face, forcing me to meet his eyes. But I swear to you, Arya, I will burn this entire city to the ground before I let anyone touch you. Do you understand me? I should have been terrified. I should have been fighting to get away from him. From this car. From whatever nightmare I'd just stepped into. But God help me. Part of me believed him. Part of me wanted to believe him. Why? The question escaped before I could stop it. Why do you still care? After all this time? After I left without a word? Why does it still matter? Something raw and honest crossed his face. Because you were the only good thing in my life. The only pure thing. When I was with you, I wasn't the son of a monster. I wasn't destined to become what my father was. I was just Dante, a stupid kid who thought he could escape. But you didn't escape. No. The word was heavy with regret. I became exactly what I was supposed to become. What I had to become to survive. But I never forgot you, Arya. Never stopped hoping that maybe, somewhere, you were living the life I couldn't give you. The life you deserved. Tears burned behind my eyes. I thought about you too. Every day. Wondered if you were okay. If you were happy, if you... I stopped, unable to finish. If I what? If you remembered me. His thumb traced my lower lip, and the gentleness of it broke something inside me. I never forgot. Not your smile, not your laugh, not the way you used to look at me like I was worth saving. You were my first love, Arya. You don't forget your first love. The SUV turned onto a private road, and I watched as massive iron gates swung open ahead of us. Beyond them, a sprawling estate spread across perfectly manicured grounds, lit by security lights that turned the mansion at its center into something from a dream or a nightmare. Where are we? My home. The SUV rolled to a stop in front of marble steps that led to towering double doors. Where you'll stay until this is sorted out. And how long will that take? He met my eyes and I saw the truth in them before he spoke. As long as it takes for me to eliminate the threat. Days, maybe weeks, possibly longer. I can't stay here for weeks. I have a job, responsibilities. You quit that job the moment someone shot at you through the window. He opened the car door and stepped out, then offered me his hand. Come on, I'll show you to your room. I stared at his outstretched hand, at the choice he was giving me even though we both knew it wasn't really a choice at all. I could refuse, make a scene, demand he take me back to my apartment. But those bullets had been real. The fear in his eyes when he covered my body with his had been real, and whether I wanted to admit it or not, I was in danger now. I took his hand. His fingers closed around mine, warm and strong and possessive, and he pulled me out of the car. The night air was cool against my skin as we climbed the marble steps, the massive doors opening before we reached them. A woman in her 50s stood in the foyer, her expression professional but warm. "Mr. Moretti, your guest. Maria, this is Aria. She'll be staying with us. Please prepare the blue suite and make sure she has everything she needs." "Of course, sir." Maria's eyes flickered to me with curiosity but no judgment. "Right this way, miss." "Wait." Dante's hand tightened on mine, stopping me from following Maria. "We need to talk. About what happens next. About the rules. Rules? You don't leave this property without my permission. You don't contact anyone from your old life. You stay away from the windows, and you tell me immediately if anything seems off or dangerous." His jaw clenched. "And you stay away from my men. All of them." The last rule made me raise an eyebrow. Jealous? Territorial. He stepped closer, his free hand sliding around my waist and pulling me against him. "You're mine to protect, mine to keep safe. Mine, Aria, and I don't share what's mine." Heat flared through me at the possession in his voice, even as my brain screamed that I should be angry, should be fighting this. "I'm not a possession. No, you're so much more than that." His lips brushed my forehead, achingly gentle. "You're the only weakness I've ever had, the only thing in this world that could bring me to my knees. So yes, I'm territorial, because losing you once nearly destroyed me. I won't survive it a second time." Before I could respond, he released me and stepped back, his expression shuddering into something professional and cold. "Maria will take care of you. Get some rest. We'll talk more in the morning." He turned and walked away, disappearing down a hallway lined with oil paintings and marble sculptures, leaving me standing in the foyer with my heart racing and my world completely upside down. "This way, miss," Maria said gently. "I'm sure you've had quite a night." I followed her up a sweeping staircase, my mind reeling. Everything about this was wrong. The opulence, the danger, the way my body still responded to Dante's touch despite everything. But as Maria opened the door to a bedroom that was bigger than my entire apartment, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking gardens lit by moonlight, I couldn't deny one terrible truth. I didn't want to leave. God help me. Part of me wanted to stay. Chapter 3. First connection. I didn't sleep. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw gunfire and shattered glass. I heard Dante's voice, rough and commanding. I felt his body covering mine, protecting me without hesitation. By the time dawn crept through the curtains, I'd paced the length of the blue suite at least 100 times. The room was beautiful, all silk and velvet and antique furniture that probably cost more than I'd earn in 5 years. But it felt like a gilded cage. A soft knock interrupted my thoughts. "Come in," I called, expecting Maria. But it was Dante who pushed open the door. He'd changed from his suit into dark jeans and a black t-shirt that showed off arms I definitely shouldn't be noticing. His hair was damp, like he'd just showered, and he carried a tray with coffee and what looked like fresh pastries. "You didn't sleep." It wasn't a question. "Neither did you." I gestured to the shadows under his eyes. "I had things to handle." He set the tray on the small table by the window. "But I wanted to check on you first. Make sure you had everything you needed." "A way out would be nice." His lips quirked. "Besides that," I sank into one of the chairs, suddenly exhausted. "Why are you really here, Dante? To make sure I haven't escaped out a window? To bring you breakfast? To talk?" He sat across from me, pouring coffee into delicate china cups. "To try to explain why all of this is necessary. I understand why. Someone wants me dead to hurt you. That part's clear." I accepted the coffee, wrapping my hands around the warm cup. "What I don't understand is why you care so much. It's been 12 years. You could have moved on, built a life with someone else. Had a family. I did move on. I built an empire." He leaned back, his eyes never leaving mine. "But I never built a family. Never even came close. Why not? Because none of them were you." The simple honesty in his voice made my chest ache. "That's not fair. No, it's not. But it's the truth." He picked up a croissant, tearing it in half. "Do you remember the summer before you left? We'd sneak out to that abandoned warehouse by the docks. Despite everything, I smiled. You'd steal wine from your father's cellar. Terrible wine. But we'd drink it anyway, pretending we were sophisticated. His expression softened. You'd talk about getting out, going to college, becoming something better than what we came from. I wanted to be a teacher. I remember. You wanted to help kids like us, give them a chance at a different life. He met my eyes. Did you ever get there? College, teaching? The question hurt more than it should have. No. My father's debts caught up with us 6 months after we left. We spent years running, hiding, barely surviving. By the time my mother got sick, college was just a dream I'd given up on. I'm sorry. It's not your fault, isn't it? His voice turned rough. If I'd been stronger back then, if I'd protected you better, maybe you wouldn't have had to run. Maybe you could have had the life you wanted. You were 16, Dante, a kid. There was nothing you could have done. I could have found you. He stood abruptly, moving to the window. I tried. God, I tried. But my father blocked me at every turn, said you were a distraction, that I needed to focus on the family business. By the time he died and I took over, the trail was cold. You'd disappeared so completely it was like you'd never existed. I set down my coffee and went to him, drawn by something I couldn't name. I'm sorry I left without saying goodbye. I wanted to tell you, but my father said it was too dangerous. Said if your family knew where we were going, they'd use it against us. He was probably right. Dante turned to face me, and we were suddenly too close. Close enough that I could see flecks of silver in his gray eyes. My father would have used anything, anyone, to maintain control, including you, especially you since he knew what you meant to me. What did I mean to you? Everything. His hand lifted, fingers tangling in my hair. You were the only person who saw me, Arya. Not the heir, not the future Dawn, just me. You made me believe I could be more than what I was born to be. But you became it anyway. Because I had to. Because my father died and left a power vacuum. And if I hadn't stepped up, there would have been war. Our people would have suffered. His thumb traced my cheekbone. I made a choice. I became the monster so that others wouldn't have to. You're not a monster. You don't know what I've done. The blood on my hands. I don't care. The words surprised me as much as they seemed to surprise him. I mean, I do care, but it doesn't change who you were. Who you are underneath all of this. And who am I? I placed my hand over his heart, feeling it thunder beneath my palm. You're the boy who gave me his jacket when I was cold, who stood up to bullies twice his size, who kissed me like I was something precious. My voice dropped to a whisper. You're Dante, and I never forgot you either. Something broke in his expression. With a sound that was half groan, half surrender, he pulled me against him and kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It was 12 years of longing and loss and desperate need. His mouth moved over mine with bruising intensity, and I kissed him back just as fiercely, my fingers digging into his shoulders as everything else fell away. This was wrong, dangerous, insane, but it felt so incredibly right. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against mine. I shouldn't have done that. Why not? Because now I want more. And I can't. You need time to adjust, to understand what life with me means. I can't just take what I want like a monster. I smiled slightly. You already said you're not one. I'm trying to be better. For you. His hands framed my face. I won't trap you here forever, Arya. Once the threat is eliminated, once you're safe, if you want to leave, I'll let you go. I swear it. The promise should have comforted me. Instead, it made something twist painfully in my chest. And if I don't want to leave? His eyes darkened with heat. Then I'll give you everything. Everything I am, everything I have. You'll want for nothing. Except freedom. You'd have freedom. Just protected freedom. He managed a rueful smile. I know how that sounds. But this world, my world, it's dangerous, Arya. The people in it don't play by normal rules. If they knew what you meant to me, they'd use you without hesitation. Like the Calvettos. Exactly like them. His expression hardened, which is why I need to end this quickly. Before they try again, a chill ran through me. End it how? However I have to. He stepped back, and just like that, the vulnerable boy disappeared behind the ruthless man. I have a meeting in an hour. Maria will stay with you. Make sure you have everything you need. Don't go outside. Don't open doors for anyone except Maria or me. You're leaving? I have to. There are things that need handling. He moved toward the door, then paused. Arya, that kiss was a mistake? I finished, even though the words tasted like lies. Was inevitable. His eyes burned into mine, just like everything else between us. We've been moving toward this since the moment I walked into that diner, maybe since the moment we met 15 years ago. And nothing, not time, not distance, not the danger, is going to stop it. He left before I could respond, the door closing softly behind him. I sank back into the chair, my lips still tingling, my heart still racing. Everything he'd said was true. We were inevitable. We'd always been inevitable. The question was whether inevitable meant salvation or destruction, and whether in the end it would matter which. Chapter 4. Rising Stakes. 3 days. I'd been in Dante's mansion for 3 days, and I was slowly losing my mind. Not because of the luxury, though waking up in silk sheets and eating meals prepared by a private chef still felt surreal. Not because of Maria, who'd proven to be both kind and surprisingly good company. No, I was losing my mind because Dante had disappeared. After that kiss, after his promise that we were inevitable, he'd vanished into whatever dark business kept him away for hours at a time. I'd see him occasionally, a glimpse of him crossing the grounds with his men, his phone pressed to his ear. Once I'd looked out my window at 2 a.m. to find him standing in the garden, smoking a cigarette with such weary intensity that I'd almost gone down to him. But I hadn't, because I didn't know what I'd say, what I'd do, whether I'd slap him for leaving me in this beautiful prison, or kiss him again just to feel something real. On the 4th morning, everything changed. I woke to shouting, not angry shouting, urgent, military-precise commands being barked in Italian. I threw on the robe Maria had left for me, and rushed to the window just in time to see a convoy of black SUVs pouring through the gates. At least 20 vehicles. Maybe more. My door burst open and Maria rushed in, her usually calm face tight with worry. "Miss Arya, you need to come with me, now." "What's happening?" "The Calvettos made their move. Mr. Moretti is gathering everyone for protection." She grabbed my arm, pulling me toward the hallway. "Quickly, please." We hurried through corridors I'd never seen before, going deeper into the mansion. Maria used her key to open a heavy door that led to a staircase going down into darkness. "A panic room?" I asked as we descended. "Something like that. The house has several safe rooms. This one's the most secure." We reached the bottom, and Maria pressed her palm against a scanner. A thick steel door slid open, revealing a space that looked like something from a spy movie, monitors showing every angle of the property, weapons mounted on walls, supplies stacked in corners, and Dante, standing in the center of it all, surrounded by his men. He looked up as we entered, and relief flooded his face. "Thank God." He strode to me, his hands gripping my shoulders. "Are you hurt?" "No, I'm fine." "What's going on?" "The Calvettos hit 3 of my warehouses last night, killed 6 of my men, left a message saying they're coming for what I value most." His jaw clenched. "They're declaring all-out war." Fear spiked through me. Because of me. Because they're ambitious and stupid. He turned to his men, barking orders. "I want triple security on all entrances. No one gets through those gates without my explicit permission. Marco, coordinate with our allies. Make sure they know we're going to respond hard and fast." The men dispersed, leaving us alone except for Maria, who discreetly moved to the far corner of the room. "You should let me go," I said quietly. "Give them what they want. Maybe they'll back off." Dante's eyes flashed dangerously. "Never. People are dying, Dante. Your people. Because of me." "No. Because the Calvettos chose war. They chose to threaten what's mine, and they're going to learn exactly what that decision costs." He cupped my face, forcing me to meet his gaze. "You think I'd trade you for peace? You think there's anything in this world I value more than keeping you safe? Your men know exactly what they signed up for. This life, this world, it was never safe. But they're loyal because I protect what's mine, because I never sacrifice my own. And you, Arya, you're more mine than anything else in this world." The possessiveness in his voice should have scared me. Instead, it sent heat pooling low in my belly. "I hate that you're in danger because of me," I whispered. "And I hate that you spent 12 years alone and afraid because of my world. But we don't get to change the past. We only get to decide what happens next." His thumb traced my lower lip. "And what happens next is I end this. Permanently." "How?" "By reminding everyone why they fear the Moretti name." He released me, moving to one of the monitors. "The Calvettos think they can take what's mine? I'll show them what happens when you threaten my family." I moved closer, watching the screens. Men were pouring out of the SUVs, all armed, all moving with military precision. "How many men do you have?" "Enough." He glanced at me. 200 here at the estate. Another 300 scattered across the city, plus alliances with 4 other families who owe me favors. This is insane. This is my world, Arya, the world I've built, the world I control. He turned to face me fully. "You said you wanted to understand what happened to me. This is what happened. I became powerful enough that no one can touch what I love, strong enough to protect you from everything, including yourself. I don't need— Yes, you do. You've been running for 12 years, barely surviving, always looking over your shoulder. That ends now, whether you stay with me after this is over or not. I'm going to make sure you're protected, that you have money, security, a life where you don't have to work yourself to death just to eat." "Why?" The question burst out of me. "Why do you care so much? I'm not that 16-year-old girl anymore. You don't really know me now. I could be completely different, harder, broken." He crossed the space between us in 2 strides. "You think I don't see the broken parts? I've been watching you for 3 months, Arya. I've seen you work double shifts, seen you give your last dollar to the homeless man outside your building, seen you cry when you thought no one was looking. I know you're different now. So am I, but the core of who we are, that hasn't changed. How can you be sure? Because you kissed me back 4 days ago. Because you haven't tried to escape, even though you easily could have. Because right now you're worried about my men dying, not about yourself." His hand slid into my hair. "You're still the girl who sees the good in people, who believes in second chances, who thinks she can save everyone. And you're still the boy who thinks he has to save me. Maybe we can save each other." He kissed me then, soft and sweet and devastating. When he pulled back, his eyes were molten silver. "Stay with me, Arya. Not because you're trapped, not because you're afraid, but because you want to. Choose me. Choose this. Choose us. Even though your world is violence and danger, I'll keep you separate from the worst of it. You'll never have to see—" An explosion rocked the mansion. Dante threw me to the ground, covering my body as alarms shrieked and the monitors flickered. On the screens, I could see fire blooming in the east wing, smoke billowing into the dawn sky. "Report!" Dante shouted into his radio, static. Then Marco's voice, tight with urgency. "Breach in Sector 3. They came through the back gardens with RPGs. We're engaging now." Gunfire erupted on the monitors, and I watched in horror as Dante's men exchanged fire with attackers in black tactical gear. This wasn't a skirmish. This was a full assault. "How many?" Dante demanded. "At least 50. Maybe more. They're pushing hard toward the main house." Dante cursed viciously, pulling me to my feet. "Maria, take her to the vault. Don't open it for anyone but me." "No." I grabbed his arm. "I'm not leaving you." "You don't have a choice." "The hell I don't. If I'm the reason they're here, you should stay alive." He gripped my shoulders, his eyes fierce. "That's all that matters. You staying alive. Everything else, the men, the house, even me, none of it matters if you're dead. Do you understand?" Tears burned my eyes. "I don't want you to die for me. Then I won't die." He kissed me hard and fast. "I'll end this, and then I'll come get you. Wait for me, Arya. No matter how long it takes, wait for me." Before I could respond, he pushed me toward Maria and strode out of the room, grabbing weapons as he went. I watched him disappear up the stairs, my heart in my throat. "Come, miss," Maria urged gently. "He can't fight if he's worried about you." She was right. I knew she was right. But every instinct screamed at me to follow him, to make sure he was safe. Instead, I let Maria lead me deeper into the mansion's hidden levels, into a vault with walls 3 feet thick, where we locked ourselves in and waited. Waited as the sounds of war raged above us. Waited as the man I'd never stopped loving fought for his life. And mine. Chapter 5. Power and I. Intimacy. Time stopped having meaning in the vault. It could have been hours or minutes since Maria had sealed us inside. All I knew was the muffled sounds of gunfire, the occasional explosion that made the walls shudder, and the terrible silence of not knowing if Dante was alive or dead. Maria tried to distract me with tea, with stories of her family, with anything except the truth. But we both knew what was happening up there. We both knew that men were dying. When the steel door finally slid open, I nearly collapsed with relief. But it wasn't Dante. Marco stood in the doorway, his face grim, blood spattered across his tactical vest. "It's over. We need to move you. Where's Dante?" I rushed toward him. "Is he hurt? He's alive. But the house isn't secure anymore. We're relocating everyone to the western compound." Marco's eyes held something I couldn't read. Respect, maybe, or fear. "The boss wants you moved first. Protected above everything else. I want to see him. Not until you're safe." "Boss's orders." He gestured toward the corridor. "There's a car waiting." I looked at Maria, who nodded encouragingly. We had no choice. The walk through the mansion was like moving through a war zone. Bullet holes peppered the walls, paintings hung askew, and there were scorch marks from the explosions. 2 of Dante's men lay covered with sheets in the hallway, and I had to look away. This was real, not some movie or story. Real men had died tonight, because of me. The western compound turned out to be a fortified estate 30 minutes away, all concrete and steel and security that made the mansion look almost welcoming by comparison. Marco hurried me inside, through corridors lined with armed guards, until we reached a penthouse suite on the top floor. "He'll come as soon as he can," Marco said. "Until then, you're safe here. Nothing gets through these walls." He left before I could ask more questions, leaving me alone in yet another gilded cage. I paced, showered, changed into the clothes someone had already laid out for me. Designer labels I'd never be able to afford, all in my exact size. Evidence that Dante had planned for this, prepared for every contingency. Prepared to keep me safe, no matter the cost. It was nearly dark when I heard the door open. Dante stood in the doorway and my breath caught. He looked like he'd walked through hell, blood on his clothes, a cut above his eyebrow, bruises already forming on his jaw. But he was alive. "Aria." My name came out rough, desperate. I ran to him, and he caught me, his arms crushing me against his chest. He smelled like smoke and sweat and copper, but I didn't care. He was warm and solid and alive. "I'm okay," he murmured into my hair. "I'm okay. You're bleeding, not my blood. Most of it, anyway." He pulled back, his eyes roaming over me like he needed to confirm I was real. "Are you hurt? Did anyone touch you?" "No, I'm fine. Maria kept me safe." I cupped his face, careful of the bruises. "What happened?" "We drove them back. Killed 17 of theirs. Captured 8 more. The rest retreated." His jaw clenched. "But I lost 5 men. Good men. Men with families." The pain in his voice broke my heart. "I'm so sorry." "This is what war looks like, Aria. This is the price of power in my world." He moved away from me, pouring himself a drink from the bar with shaking hands. "This is what loving me costs." "Don't." I went to him, taking the glass and setting it aside. "Don't do that. Don't push me away because you think you're protecting me from the truth. I see it, I understand it, and I'm still here. You shouldn't be." He turned to face the window, his shoulders rigid. "You should run as far from me as possible. Find someone safe, someone normal, someone who can give you the life you deserve. What if the life I deserve is the one I choose? What if I choose you?" He laughed, but it was bitter. "Why would you choose this? Blood and violence and constant danger? You could have peace, Aria. Safety. Everything I can't give you." "You're wrong." I moved in front of him, forcing him to look at me. "You give me more than anyone ever has. You make me feel seen, protected, cherished in a way I've never felt before. Yes, your world is dangerous, But you know what? So was mine. I've spent 12 years running from loan sharks and thugs and men who wanted to use me to get to my father's debts. At least with you, I know the danger. I know you'll fight for me. Of course I'll fight for you. I'd burn down the world for you. I know. That's why I'm not afraid. I took his hands, lacing our fingers together. I'm not 16 anymore, Dante. I'm not naive about what this life means. But I also know what I felt when I thought you might be dead. I know that these 4 days with you have made me feel more alive than the last 12 years combined. And I know, my voice broke, I know that I never stopped loving you. His eyes closed, pain flickering across his face. Don't say that. Why not? It's true. Because if you love me, you'll stay. And if you stay, I'll never let you go. I'll keep you in this world, in this danger, and eventually it will destroy you. Or destroy us. And I can't, his voice cracked. I can't watch that happen. Then don't. I reached up, pulling his face down to mine. Don't watch it happen. Make it work. Use all that power, all that control, and make a space for us. A life where we can be together without losing ourselves. You're asking for the impossible. You've built an empire. I think you can handle impossible. For a moment, he just stared at me. Then, with a sound that might have been surrender or triumph, he kissed me. This kiss was different from the others. Deeper, more desperate. Laced with 12 years of longing and loss and the terrible relief of survival. His hands moved over me like he was memorizing every curve, every line, and I pressed closer, needing to feel him, needing proof he was real and alive and mine. Arya, he breathed against my lips. If we do this, there's no going back. You'll be mine in every way that matters. Everyone will know. The danger won't stop, it might get worse. And I'll be ruthless in keeping you safe. I won't apologize for it. I won't hold back. I don't want you to hold back. I grabbed his shirt, pulling him closer. I want all of you. The good and the bad and everything in between. I want the boy who gave me his jacket and the man who built an empire. I want Dante Moretti, in whatever form he comes in. Something fierce and primal flashed in his eyes. You're sure? Because once I claim you, once you're truly mine, I won't be able to let you go, even if you change your mind, even if you hate me for it. I'm sure. I kissed him again, pouring everything I felt into it. I choose you. I choose this. I choose us. He lifted me, and I wrapped my legs around his waist as he carried me toward the bedroom. Every step was a choice, every touch a promise. And when he laid me down on silk sheets and whispered my name like a prayer, I knew there was no going back. I was his. Completely, irrevocably his, and God help me, I wouldn't have it any other way. Chapter 6. Betrayal or Revelation. Woke to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows, and the warm weight of Dante's arm across my waist. For a moment, one perfect, suspended moment, everything felt right, normal. Like, we were just two people who'd found their way back to each other instead of a mafia boss and the woman he'd dragged into his deadly world. Then reality crashed back in, the bruises on his knuckles, the way his hand instinctively reached for the gun on the nightstand even in sleep, the fact that we were in a fortified compound because someone had tried to kill us less than 24 hours ago. This was my life now. I slipped out of bed carefully, not wanting to wake him. He'd barely slept, I knew. Even in unconsciousness, tension held his body rigid. The cut above his eyebrow looked worse in daylight, and I found myself wanting to tend to it, to take care of him the way he was constantly trying to take care of me. The bathroom was absurdly luxurious, all marble and gold fixtures. I showered, letting hot water wash away the lingering fear and confusion of the past few days. When I emerged, wrapped in a plush robe, Dante was awake, sitting on the edge of the bed with his phone pressed to his ear. I don't care what excuse they give. I want answers by tonight, or heads start rolling. Literally. He ended the call, his eyes finding me. Good morning, is it? I moved to the window, looking out over manicured grounds ringed by walls and armed guards. Seems like just another day in paradise. Arya, I'm not complaining. I need to adjust. That's all. He came up behind me, his arms sliding around my waist, his chin resting on my shoulder. I know this isn't easy. I know you didn't ask for any of this. Neither did you. Not really. I leaned back against him. You were born into it. I was. But I chose to stay in it, to become what my father was. I could have walked away, could have tried for a different life. But I didn't. His arms tightened. And now you're paying the price for my choices. Stop. I turned in his arms. Stop taking all the blame. I made choices too. I could have told Marco to take me to a police station yesterday. Could have demanded you let me go. But I didn't, because I want to be here, with you. Something softened in his expression. He kissed my forehead, gentle and reverent. What did I do to deserve you? Probably something terrible. You are a crime lord after all. He laughed, and it was the first genuine sound of amusement I'd heard from him since the attack. Come on. Maria's prepared breakfast, and I have something I need to show you. 20 minutes later, we sat in a sunlit breakfast room that could have been in a normal home if not for the armed guards visible through every window. Maria had outdone herself. Fresh pastries, fruit, eggs prepared 6 different ways. She fussed over both of us like a concerned mother, making sure we ate. You need your strength, Mr. Moretti. And you, miss, you're far too thin. When did you last have a proper meal? Despite everything, I found myself smiling. You sound like my mother used to. Then I'm honored. Maria squeezed my shoulder before retreating to give us privacy. Dante pushed a folder across the table to me. I need you to look at this. What is it? Information. About your father. His expression turned serious. After you disappeared, I started digging, trying to understand why he ran, who he owed money to, what happened. I found things you should know. Unease prickled down my spine. What kinds of things? Your father didn't just owe money to loan sharks. He was involved in something bigger, darker. Dante opened the folder, revealing photographs and documents. He was working with the Russo family. No relation to you, different clan, running guns and drugs through the port. He got greedy, started skimming profits. That's why he had to run. I stared at the papers, my stomach churning. No, my father was a gambler, yes, but he wouldn't. I'm sorry, Arya, but it's true. Look at the dates. Look at the transactions. Dante's voice was gentle but firm. Dante's voice was gentle but firm. He wasn't just a victim of circumstances. He made choices, dangerous choices that put you and your mother at risk. I flipped through the documents, seeing my father's signature, seeing amounts of money that made my head spin. He told us it was gambling debts, that he'd made mistakes but was trying to protect us. Maybe he was in his own way. But the truth is, his mistakes were bigger than he admitted. And the people he crossed, they don't forget. They don't forgive. Is that why? I looked up at him, horror dawning. Are they still after me? Is this connected to what happened at the diner? No. Your father's debts died with him. I made sure of that 3 years ago. Paid off what he owed, made it clear you were off limits. His jaw clenched. But I needed you to know the truth. To understand that the danger you've been running from all these years, it wasn't your burden to carry. It was his. Anger flared hot and sharp. Why are you telling me this now? Because I won't build our future on lies. You deserve to know who your father really was, what he did, and you deserve to decide whether the life I'm offering is better or just more of the same corruption and violence. I stood abruptly, the chair scraping against marble. That's not fair. You can't just dump this on me and then act like I have a choice. Like I can walk away from you now that I know how deep this all goes. You can walk away. I told you, I'll let you go if that's what you want. Will you? I laughed bitterly. Because it doesn't feel like it. It feels like you're showing me how dirty my past is, so I'll accept how dirty your present is. Like you're saying, see? You come from this world too. You belong here with me. Pain flickered across his face. That's not what I'm doing, isn't it? No. I'm showing you the truth because I love you and I won't lie to you. Even if it means you hate me. Even if it means you leave. He moved toward me, his eyes blazing with intensity. Your father made terrible choices, but you're not him, Arya. You're not defined by his mistakes any more than I'm defined by my father's. We both have a chance to be something different, something better. In a world of violence and crime, in a world where we protect each other, where we make our own rules. He cupped my face. I know what I am. I know what I do. But with you, I want to be better. I want to build something that isn't just about power and fear. Something that actually matters. Tears blurred my vision. I don't know if I can do this. If I'm strong enough, you're the strongest person I know. You survived 12 years of running, survived loss and fear and impossible choices. If anyone can handle my world, it's you. What if I don't want to just survive anymore? What if I want to actually live? Then live with me. He pressed his forehead to mine. Build a life with me. Help me create something better than what we came from. You wanted to be a teacher, to help people. You can still do that. I have resources, money, power. We can use it for good, make a difference. In between gang wars and assassinations? Yes, even in the darkness we can be a light. His voice turned fierce. I know it sounds impossible, but I've done impossible things before. I built an empire from the ruins of my father's regime. I found you again after 12 years. I can do this too. We can do this too. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him so badly it hurt. But the photographs on the table told a different story. A story of corruption and violence and choices that destroyed lives. I need time, I whispered, to process this, to figure out what it means. Take all the time you need. He kissed my forehead. I'm not going anywhere. And neither are you, not until it's safe. Use that time to decide what you want, who you want to be, and whether any version of that future includes me. He left me then, alone with the truth about my father and the impossible choice Dante was offering. Stay and embrace this dangerous world, or leave and always wonder what might have been. Neither option felt like freedom. Both felt like a prison of a different kind. Chapter 7. Confrontation. 2 days of tension followed. Dante's revelation about my father. I spent the time walking the compound's grounds, always with guards shadowing me, thinking about everything he'd told me. Everything I'd thought I knew about my life was a lie. My father hadn't been a victim. He'd been a participant, a criminal who'd put his family at risk for profit, just like Dante. Except Dante had never pretended to be anything else. He'd been honest about his darkness from the moment he'd pulled me into his world. I was in the library, because of course this compound had a library with first editions and leather-bound. Classics, when chaos erupted, shouting, running footsteps, the sharp crack of gunfire. I dropped the book I'd been pretending to read and rushed to the window. On the grounds below, black SUVs were pouring through the gates, but these weren't Dante's vehicles. The Calvettos had found us. My door burst open, and Marco was there, his face grim. We need to move you to the safe room now. Where's Dante? Securing the perimeter. He'll meet us. An explosion rocked the building, and we both staggered. Through the window, I saw the western wall collapse in a shower of concrete and flame. Armed men poured through the breach, and Dante's guards engaged them. Go. Marco shoved me toward the corridor. I'll cover you. We ran through hallways that had become a war zone. Bullets punched through walls, glass shattered, and I heard screaming, human screaming, that would haunt my nightmares forever. Marco pushed me around a corner, just as a burst of gunfire tore through where we'd been standing. He returned fire, his face professionally blank even as blood bloomed on his shoulder. You're hit! Keep moving! He dragged me forward, toward a steel door at the end of the hall. The safe room is... Men in black tactical gear appeared at the other end of the corridor. Marco turned, raising his weapon, but there were too many of them. He took down 2 before a bullet caught him in the chest. He crumpled and I screamed, dropping to my knees beside him. Run, he gasped, blood bubbling at his lips. Don't let them... He never finished the sentence. Rough hands grabbed me, yanking me away from Marco's body. I fought, screaming, kicking, but there were 3 of them and they were so much stronger. They zip-tied my wrists and hauled me down the corridor, away from safety, toward the breach in the wall. Dante! I screamed his name, desperate. Dante! Then we were outside, in the chaos of the battle. Bodies lay scattered across the grounds, some in Dante's colors, some in black. The air smelled like smoke and copper and death. They were dragging me toward a waiting SUV, and I knew if they got me inside, I was gone. Dead or worse. A roar split the air. Dante appeared like an avenging angel, covered in blood, his eyes absolutely feral. He moved through the Calvetti soldiers like a force of nature, his gun firing with devastating precision. Men fell before him, and the ones holding me hesitated. Fatal mistake. Dante was on them in seconds. He shot the first one in the head, slammed the second into the SUV with bone-crushing force, and simply broke the third one's neck with his bare hands. Then he was pulling me against him, checking me for injuries with shaking hands. "Are you hurt? Did they touch you? Arya, talk to me. I'm okay. I'm okay." I clung to him, feeling him shake against me. "Marco, they killed Marco. I know. I know, baby. I'm sorry." He was already moving, pulling me back toward the building. Around us, the tide of battle was turning. More of Dante's men were pouring in, overwhelming the Calvettos with sheer numbers. But it was the man who stepped out of the burning building that made Dante stop cold, Antonio Calvetti. I recognized him from photos in Dante's files, the head of the rival family, older than Dante by 20 years, with cold eyes and a cruel smile. "Moretti," he called out, his voice carrying over the gunfire. "I see you found your little whore." Dante's entire body went rigid. "You're a dead man." "Maybe, but not today." Antonio gestured, and dozens more men appeared from the smoke, all armed, all aimed at us. "Here's how this works. You give me the girl and I let you live. You get to keep your empire, your power, everything. All I want is her. No, not even to save your men. Look around, Moretti. I've got 50 guns pointed at your people right now. One word from me and they all die, including you. Is she really worth that?" I felt Dante's heart hammering against my back, felt the impossible choice weighing on him. His empire or me, his men or me, everything he'd built or me. "Dante," I whispered. "You should..." "Shut up." His voice was hard, absolute. Then louder to Antonio. "You want war? I'll give you war, but you'll never touch her. Not while I have breath in my body." Antonio's smile faded. "Wrong answer." Everything happened at once. Antonio's men opened fire. Dante shoved me behind a concrete barrier and returned fire, his movements smooth and practiced. But we were outnumbered, outgunned, and I could see the calculation in his eyes. We weren't going to make it. Then helicopters appeared over the compound, and suddenly the air was full of rope lines and men in tactical gear dropping from the sky. Not Calvetti men, not Dante's men either. Police? FBI? No, these were something else. They moved with military precision, neutralizing Calvetti soldiers with non-lethal force. Within minutes, the entire compound was swarming with them, and Antonio was being dragged away, screaming about betrayal and consequences. A man approached Dante and me, older, distinguished, with eyes that missed nothing. "Mr. Moretti, Miss Russo. I'm Agent Morrison, FBI Organized Crime Division." He showed a badge. "We've been building a case against the Calvetti family for 3 years. Thanks to your situation, we finally had cause to move in." Dante's arm tightened around me. "I didn't call you." "No, but your attorney did. Apparently, he thought you might do something spectacularly stupid to protect Miss Russo, and he wanted insurance." Morrison's expression was almost sympathetic. "The Calvettos will be charged with racketeering, murder, assault with deadly weapons, and about 40 other crimes. They're done. And me?" Dante's voice was carefully neutral. "That depends. We'd very much like your cooperation in dismantling their network. In exchange for testimony, we might be persuaded to overlook certain aspects of your own operations." Morrison's gaze flicked to me, then back to Dante. "Especially if those operations were to become more legitimate, going forward." I felt Dante tense, felt the weight of another impossible choice settling on his shoulders. Morrison continued, "You have 24 hours to think about it, but understand. If you refuse, we'll have no choice but to investigate your activities as thoroughly as we did the Calvettos, and I suspect we'll find quite a bit of interest." He walked away, leaving us standing in the ruins of the compound, surrounded by the wounded and the dead. Dante turned to face me, his eyes haunted. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you had to see this, that you had to go through this. Marco, the others, they died because of me, because I wasn't strong enough to let you go. Don't." I touched his face, my own hands shaking. "Don't apologize for saving me. Don't apologize for fighting for us. But at what cost?" He looked around at the devastation. "How many more people have to die before I admit that loving you, keeping you in my world, is selfish and wrong?" "What's wrong is pretending we have a choice." "We don't, Dante. We never did." I pulled his face down to mine, forcing him to see the truth in my eyes. I love you. I choose you. Even after everything, even knowing what this world costs, I choose you. Arya, no, listen to me. That FBI agent just gave you a way out, a chance to go legitimate, to build something different. Take it. Not for me, not to save your soul, but because you want to. Because maybe, somewhere deep down, you're tired of the blood and the violence too. His eyes searched mine, looking for something I hoped he could find. And if I do? If I take the deal and turn away from everything I've built, will you stay? Yes. The answer came without hesitation. If you're willing to try for something better, something real, then yes. I'll stay. I'll build that life with you, whatever it looks like. He kissed me then, desperate and claiming, like he was sealing a vow. When we broke apart, something had shifted in his expression. Determination, maybe, or hope. Okay, he breathed. Okay, we'll do it. We'll find a way to make this work, to be better than what we came from. Together, I whispered. Together, he agreed. Around us, medics were tending to the wounded, and federal agents were securing evidence. The world of violence and crime that had defined both our lives was crumbling. And in its place maybe, we could build something new. Chapter 8. Choice. The hospital was too bright, too sterile, too full of beeping machines and the antiseptic smell that reminded me of when my mother died. But I sat beside Dante's bed anyway, holding his hand while doctors fussed over the bullet wound in his shoulder, the one he'd gotten throwing himself between me and a Calvetti soldier in those final moments of the battle. It's minor, he kept insisting, even as they stitched him up. I've had worse. That doesn't make it better, I said quietly. His fingers tightened around mine. It does when you're safe. That's all that matters. 3 days had passed since the FBI raid. 3 days of statements and negotiations and Dante's attorney working overtime to craft a deal that would satisfy the FBI while keeping Dante out of prison. I'd been by his side through all of it, refusing to leave even when the agent suggested it would be easier if I wasn't present. Easier for them, maybe. Not for us. Agent Morrison had visited that morning with documents, thick stacks of legal agreements that would reshape Dante's entire empire. In exchange for his testimony against the Calvettos and their network, he'd be granted immunity for past crimes. But the deal came with conditions. Divest from all illegal operations within 6 months, submit to regular audits, and accept federal oversight of his businesses for 5 years. It was a cage of a different kind. But it was also a chance. You don't have to take it, I'd told him while the attorney explained the details. If this isn't what you want, it's what I want. His eyes had been clear, certain. I want a life with you that doesn't include checking for assassins every time we leave the house. I want to sleep without a gun under my pillow. He'd paused, something vulnerable crossing his face. I want to be the man you believed I could be when we were kids. Before everything went to hell. Now, with his shoulder bandaged and the doctors finally leaving us alone, he pulled me closer. Come here. I settled carefully on the edge of the hospital bed, mindful of his injuries. You should rest. I'll rest when I know you're okay. Really okay. His free hand cupped my face. You've been through hell because of me. Seen things, lost things. Marco was a good man, and he died protecting you because I brought you into this world. Stop taking all the blame. Marco made his own choice. They all did. They were loyal to you because you're worth being loyal to. Am I? His voice dropped. I've done terrible things, Arya. Hurt people. Killed people. Built an empire on fear and violence. Even if I go legitimate now, that doesn't erase the past. No, but it means you're trying to build a better future. I threaded my fingers through his. That matters. Redemption isn't about erasing the past. It's about making different choices going forward. He studied me for a long moment. How are you so sure? How do you have such faith in me when I barely have faith in myself? Because I know you, the real you underneath all the armor. You're not your father, Dante. You never were. You're the boy who protected me from bullies, who shared his lunch when he saw I didn't have one, who dreamed about a different life. That person is still in there. That person fell in love with you, and never fell out of it. I smiled, even as tears pricked my eyes. Just like I never fell out of love with you. 12 years and I never stopped missing you, never stopped wondering what could have been. And now, knowing what you know about my world, about your father, about all of it. Do you still want this? Want me? Yes. The answer was immediate, absolute. I want mornings waking up next to you. I want to help you build legitimate businesses. I want to use your resources to actually help people, like I always dreamed of doing. I want messy and complicated and real. I want you, Dante, all of you. The darkness and the light. His eyes glistened. I don't deserve you. Probably not. But you're stuck with me anyway. I leaned down, kissing him softly. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign that FBI deal. You're going to dismantle the illegal parts of your empire and build something legitimate. And I'm going to be right there beside you, helping however I can. Just like that? Just like that. I paused. But I have conditions too. His eyebrows rose. Oh, I want honesty. Complete honesty about everything. No more secrets, no more hidden truths. If we're doing this, we're doing it as partners, equals. Done. What else? I want to go back to school. Finish my degree. Become a teacher like I always planned. You can support me, but this is mine, my dream, my accomplishment. Pride flickered in his eyes. Absolutely. I'll make sure you have the best education money can buy. What else? I hesitated, then pushed forward. I want marriage, eventually. Not right now, not in the middle of all this chaos. But someday, when things settle, I want the commitment, the promise, the choice to build a life together intentionally. He sat up despite my protests, ignoring the pain the movement caused. Aria Russo, are you proposing to me in a hospital room? I'm stating my terms, but I was smiling. Think you can handle them? I'll handle anything if it means keeping you. His hand slid to the back of my neck, pulling me closer. But let me make something clear. You don't have to wait for someday. You want marriage? You want the promise and the commitment? You have it. Here now, regardless of papers or ceremonies. I'm yours, Aria. Completely, irrevocably, for as long as you'll have me. Even though I'm difficult and stubborn and come with my own trauma, especially because of that. We match. He kissed me deep and claiming. When he pulled back, his expression was serious. I know this won't be easy. Going legitimate, changing everything, it's going to be messy. Some of my people won't understand. Some will leave. We'll face scrutiny and judgment, and people who think we're faking redemption. Let them think what they want. We know the truth, which is that love is worth fighting for, that people can change, that we deserve a chance at happiness, even if the path to get there is complicated. I settled against his good side, careful of his injuries. We've both been running for so long, Dante. From our pasts, from danger, from who we thought we had to be. Maybe it's time to stop running and start building. His arm came around me, holding me close. Together. Together, I agreed. Through the hospital window, the sun was setting over the city, Dante's city, the one he'd controlled through fear and power. But that was changing. We were changing. It wouldn't be easy. Nothing worth having ever was. But as I sat there in his arms, feeling his heartbeat steady and strong beneath my palm, I knew we'd made the right choice. We were choosing each other. Choosing hope over fear, future over past, choosing love, despite everything. And sometimes, that's all the certainty you need. Chapter 9. Climax. The warehouse district at midnight should have been deserted. Instead, it was full of Dante's men, all armed, all tense, waiting for the final confrontation we'd hoped to avoid. Antonio Calvetti's arrest hadn't ended things. His son, Lorenzo, had taken control of what remained of the family and refused to accept defeat. For 2 weeks, he'd been striking at Dante's operations, burning warehouses, attacking supply lines, killing anyone associated with the Moretti name. The FBI couldn't touch him, not yet. Not without evidence that would hold up in court. But Dante could. You shouldn't be here, Dante said for the 10th time, adjusting his bulletproof vest with practiced efficiency. We were in the back of an armored SUV, surrounded by his best men, the same men who'd protected me through every attack, every threat. We've had this argument. I checked my own vest, a concession to Dante's sanity, though I'd refuse to be left behind. Where you go, I go. That was the deal. The deal was that you'd stay safe while I cleaned up my mess. And I am safe. I'm with you. I touched his face, forcing him to look at me. Besides, you need me here. Why? Because Lorenzo wants me. He wants to hurt you by taking what you love most, so I'm the bait that makes him show himself. I held up a hand, stopping his immediate protest. Before you say no, it's already done. The FBI has snipers on every roof, agents positioned around the perimeter. This is the trap, Dante. Let me help you spring it. Fury and fear warred in his expression. If anything happens to you, it won't. You'll make sure of that. I kissed him, soft and sure. Trust me. Trust us. He pulled me against him, his forehead pressed to mine. I love you. More than empire, more than power, more than my own life. If this goes wrong, it won't. I smiled even though my heart was racing. We're going to end this tonight. And then we're going to start our new life. The legitimate one. The one where we don't have to look over our shoulders every second. Agent Morrison's voice crackled through the radio. Calvetti convoy approaching from the east. 5 vehicles, approximately 20 men. Moretti, you're on. Dante's expression shuddered into something cold and dangerous. The Mafia boss who'd built an empire through ruthless efficiency. But when he looked at me, I saw the boy I'd loved beneath the armor. Stay in the SUV until Morrison gives the all clear. Promise me. I promise. He kissed me one more time, hard and desperate, then stepped out into the night. I watched through tinted windows as his men took positions, as the trap was set. Dante stood in the center of the warehouse district, alone and exposed, exactly as Lorenzo expected him to be. The Calvetti convoy rolled up, and Lorenzo emerged from the lead vehicle. Younger than his father, but with the same cruel eyes. He approached Dante with a dozen armed men behind him. Moretti! His voice echoed off concrete and steel. I hear you've gone soft. Made deals with the feds, lost your spine. I made choices. Dante's voice was calm, controlled. Choices that ensure my future. You should have made different choices too. The only choice I'm making tonight is how slowly you die. Lorenzo gestured, and his men raised their weapons. Did you really think I'd come alone? That I wouldn't have backup? More vehicles appeared from the shadows. Lorenzo had brought at least 40 men. My stomach dropped. This was more than anticipated. Much more. Then Dante smiled, cold and sharp as a blade. No, I was counting on it. Lights blazed from every direction. FBI agents appeared from hiding spots, dozens of them, all armed, all with Lorenzo's men in their sights. Morrison's voice boomed through a megaphone. FBI, drop your weapons! This is over, Calvetti! For a moment, everything hung in balance. Lorenzo's men looked at their boss, uncertain. They were outnumbered, outmaneuvered, caught in a trap they'd never seen coming. Lorenzo's face twisted with rage. You betrayed the code, brought in the feds. You're a disgrace to the family name. No, I evolved. You should try it. Dante's voice carried absolute authority. Your father is going to prison for the rest of his life. You can join him, or you can walk away. Choose wisely. I choose blood. Lorenzo pulled a gun from his jacket and aimed it at Dante. Time fractured. 3 things happened simultaneously. FBI snipers fired. Lorenzo's men dove for cover and I burst from the SUV, screaming Dante's name. Lorenzo's shot went wild as he fell, hit by non-lethal rounds. But one of his men had better aim. His bullet was tracking straight toward Dante's chest. I ran faster than I'd ever run, throwing myself between Dante and the bullet. Pain exploded through my side as the round caught me, spinning me around. I heard Dante roar, felt his arms catch me as I fell. Then chaos. Gunfire, shouting, the thunder of the FBI moving in. But all I could focus on was Dante's face above me, white with terror. Aria, no, stay with me, baby. Stay with me. His hands pressed against my side, trying to stop the bleeding. Medic, I need a medic now. I'm okay. I managed even though the pain was blinding. The vest didn't cover your side. Fuck. Tears streamed down his face, this powerful man who never cried, who never showed weakness. Why did you do that? Why did you? Because I love you. I touched his face, leaving blood on his cheek, and I wasn't letting you die. Not when we finally have a chance at forever. Paramedics swarmed us, pushing Dante aside despite his protests. I heard Morrison directing his men, heard Lorenzo being arrested along with his entire crew. The night filled with sirens and flashing lights, but all I saw was Dante, fighting to stay by my side as they loaded me into an ambulance. "Sir, you need to let us work. I'm not leaving her." His voice brooked no argument. "Where she goes, I go. That's non-negotiable." They let him ride with me, and his hand gripped mine the entire way to the hospital. I drifted in and out of consciousness. But every time I opened my eyes, he was there. "Don't you dare leave me," he whispered fiercely. "Don't you dare. We have a life to build, remember? You need to finish your degree. We need to get married. We need—" His voice cracked. "I need you, Arya. I need you so goddamn much. Not going anywhere, I promised. Takes more than a bullet to get rid of me. That's not funny. Little bit funny." I squeezed his hand. "We won, Dante. It's over. We're free." In surgery, they removed the bullet and stitched me up. The doctor said I was lucky. Another inch to the left, and it would have hit something vital. As it was, I'd need weeks of recovery, but I'd be fine. When I woke up, Dante was asleep in the chair beside my hospital bed, his hand still holding mine, his face drawn with exhaustion. Agent Morrison stood in the doorway, a slight smile on his face. "Miss Russo, glad to see you made it. Did we get them all?" "Every last one. Lorenzo Calvetti is facing attempted murder charges, along with about 40 other crimes. His entire operation is dismantled. The Calvetti family is finished." Morrison's expression turned thoughtful. "Your fiancé kept his word. He testified, provided evidence, and never once tried to bargain for anything except your safety. That means something. He's a good man. He's a complicated man. But yes, I think under all that history, there's good." Morrison nodded toward Dante. "Take care of him, and make sure he stays on the straight and narrow. The FBI will be watching. So will I promised." Morrison left, and I turned my attention to Dante. He looked younger in sleep. The hard edges softened. I brushed hair back from his forehead, and his eyes opened immediately. "Arya." Relief flooded his face. "How do you feel?" "Like I got shot. But alive," I smiled. "We did it. It's really over." "You almost died." His voice was rough with emotion. "You threw yourself in front of a bullet for me." "You've been throwing yourself in front of bullets for me since we met." "Fair's fair." "That's not—" He stood, pacing the small hospital room. "That's not how this works. I'm supposed to protect you. That's my job, my purpose, and I failed. You didn't fail. We're both alive. Lorenzo's arrested. We have a future." I held out my hand. "Come here." He came, sinking onto the bed beside me. I pulled his face down to mine, kissing him until some of the tension left his shoulders. "Listen to me. This is what love looks like. Not one person protecting the other while sacrificing everything. Both of us protecting each other. Both of us willing to fight for this. That's partnership, Dante. That's what we're building. I could have lost you, but you didn't. I'm right here, annoying you with my near-death experience and my stubborn insistence on equality. Despite everything," he laughed, "you're impossible. And you love me anyway. More than anything." He settled beside me carefully, his arm around my shoulders, his hand resting over my heart. "When I saw that gun aimed at you, when I thought—" He stopped, unable to finish. "I know. I felt the same way. I laced our fingers together, but we're okay. We made it through, and now we get to build something real, something lasting, the life we always dreamed about. Together. Always together." I kissed his knuckles, then met his eyes. "So what do you say? Ready to become boring, law-abiding citizens? With you?" "I'm ready for anything," and looking at him, at the man who'd fought through hell to protect me, who'd been willing to change his entire life just to build a future with me. I believed him. We were going to be okay. More than okay, we were going to be extraordinary. Chapter 10. Resolution. 6 months later, I stood in front of a classroom full of eager 8-year-olds, explaining the water cycle with the kind of enthusiasm that would have embarrassed my younger self. But I didn't care. This, teaching, helping, making a difference, was what I'd always wanted. And now finally I had it. Miss Russo. Miss Russo. A little girl named Sophia waved her hand frantically. My dad says you're married to a really important man. Is that true? I smiled, twisting the ring on my finger. Simple gold, chosen together, no massive diamond because I'd insisted we didn't need to prove anything to anyone. I am married to an important man. Important to me anyway. What does he do? He runs several businesses. Tech companies, real estate development, charitable foundations. All legitimate, all clean, all carefully audited by both the FBI and private firms to ensure Dante stayed on the straight and narrow. The transformation hadn't been easy. Some of Dante's men had left when he went legitimate, unable to accept the change. Others had adapted, finding new roles in the legal enterprises Dante was building. Marco's family received generous compensation, college funds for his kids, a house for his widow, an endowed scholarship in his name. It didn't bring him back. Nothing could, but it honored his sacrifice. Can he visit our class? Sophia persisted. Maybe someday. I glanced at the clock. But right now we need to finish our science project. Who wants to help me with the demonstration? Every hand shot up and my heart swelled. This was worth everything. The danger, the fear, the long journey to get here. These kids, their futures, their potential. The school bell rang, and chaos erupted as 20 kids grabbed backpacks and rushed for the door. Parents waited outside, and I supervised dismissal with the other teachers, making sure everyone got to where they needed to go. When the last child was collected, I headed back inside to clean up my classroom. That's when I saw him. Dante leaned against my desk, wearing jeans and a casual shirt that made him look more like the boy I'd fallen in love with than the feared Mafia boss he'd been. His hair was slightly messy, his expression soft, and he was looking at me like I was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. "Hey, Mrs. Moretti," I laughed, moving into his arms. "You know I kept my name." "I know, but I like how it sounds anyway." He kissed me, sweet and lingering. "How was your day?" "Good. Exhausting. One kid tried to drink the volcano experiment, and another decided scissors were for cutting hair, not paper. But good." I leaned back to study him. "You look happy. I am happy. The tech acquisition went through. Clean, legal, profitable. No bribes, no threats, just good business." Pride colored his voice. "We're expanding into educational technology, developing apps and programs for underprivileged schools. Using your powers for good. I'm impressed. You're the one who inspired it." His hand settled on my hips. "You and your insistence that we make a difference. Speaking of which, I have something to show you." "What?" "It's a surprise. Come on." He grabbed my bag, and I followed him out to where his car waited. Not an armored SUV anymore, just a regular, expensive sedan. We still had security, but it was discreet, professional, nothing like the small army that used to follow him everywhere. We drove through the city, and I watched it transform from urban sprawl to suburbs, then to open land on the outskirts. Dante turned down a private road that led to... Is that what I think it is? I breathed. Before us stood the skeleton of a building. Not complete yet, but clearly taking shape. 3 stories, modern design, with what looked like wings spreading out from a central hub. Dante parked and led me to where an architect waited with blueprints. "Aria, meet Jonathan Chen." "Jonathan, my wife." Jonathan shook my hand enthusiastically. "Mrs. Moretti, your husband has told me so much about your vision. I think we've captured it perfectly. Would you like the tour?" "Vision? Dante, what is this?" "This," Dante said, pulling me close, "is the Marco Santos Community Center. Named after the man who gave his life protecting you. It'll have after-school programs, tutoring, art classes, sports facilities, everything kids in underserved communities need, but can't usually access. And you're going to run it." Tears blurred my vision. "What?" "You wanted to help people, to make a difference. This is how we do it. Together." His voice was fierce with emotion. "I can't bring Marco back. Can't undo the violence or erase the past. But I can build something good from it. We can build something good from it." I threw my arms around him, crying into his shoulder. "It's perfect. He would have loved this." "I hope so." Dante held me tight. "And there's more. We're planning to build 5 more centers across the city. Educational foundations, scholarship programs, job training for at-risk youth. Everything we wish someone had given us when we were kids trying to escape this life. I pulled back to look at him. You've really done it. You've changed everything. We've done it. None of this would exist without you. His thumb brushed away my tears. You made me believe I could be more than what I was born to be. That redemption was possible. That love was worth fighting for. It is worth fighting for. I know, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving it to you. He cupped my face. I love you, Aria Russo Moretti. You saved me in every way a person can be saved. You saved me too. Gave me a life I never dreamed possible. We saved each other. He kissed me, and it was promise and prayer and hope all tangled together. And now we get to save others. Give them the chances we never had. How did I get so lucky? I whispered against his lips. Luck had nothing to do with it. This was always inevitable. Us, this life, this love. We were always heading here. We just had to survive long enough to find our way. As the sun set over the construction site, painting everything in shades of gold and crimson, I leaned against Dante and looked at the future we were building. It wasn't the future I'd imagined as a 16-year-old girl in love with a boy from the wrong side of the tracks. It was better. Messier, more complicated, born from darkness but reaching toward light. We'd both been broken, both been lost, but we'd found each other again. And together, we were becoming something neither of us could have been alone. Whole, healed, home. Ready to go? Dante asked eventually. I have dinner reservations. Where? That diner where we found each other again. Lou reopened it, with some financial help from an anonymous benefactor. His smile was mischievous. Thought it might be nice to revisit where this all started. You're sentimental. Only with you. He kissed my temple. Only ever with you. We drove back into the city as darkness fell, the lights of our new life spreading out before us like stars. Behind us lay violence and danger and impossible choices. Ahead lay possibility, purpose, and the kind of love that survives everything. The kind of love that transforms both the lover and the beloved. The kind of love worth fighting for. We'd fought our way through hell to get here. Faced down danger, betrayal, and our own demons. But we'd made it. Together. And as we walked hand in hand into that diner where it had all begun, I knew with absolute certainty that this was just the start. We had a lifetime ahead of us. A lifetime of building something better than what we'd come from. A lifetime of love that would echo through every person we helped. Every life we changed. Every kid who found hope in the center we'd built from grief. Dante pulled out my chair, and his eyes met mine across the table. Storm gray and full of promises. To new beginnings, he said, raising his coffee cup. To inevitable endings that become beautiful new beginnings, I corrected, clinking my cup against his. To us. Always us. And as we sat in that diner, in the place where a Mafia boss had spotted his childhood love and changed both their lives forever, I knew one truth above all others. Sometimes love isn't about finding someone who makes life easy. It's about finding someone who makes the hard parts worth fighting through. Someone who sees all your broken pieces and loves you more, fiercely because of them. Someone who will burn down the world to keep you safe, then rebuild it into something better with you by their side. Dante was that person for me, and I was that person for him. Everything else, the empire, the transformation, the danger we'd survived, was just the story of how we found our way home, to each other, where we'd always belonged.